Let me get a sip here. I need to do that because I will probably be speaking for a few minutes without taking a breath and I get kind of dry. Welcome back, everyone. This is How You See It. I'm Mansa. You're who you are. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you're stopping back in here to check out our show, and hopefully you've been here in the past and enjoyed it. And if not, you can check out previous shows. At the end, you'll see a link to check those out. And maybe you want to leave a comment. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to leave a good comment, maybe a bad comment. I welcome both of them. It gives me perspective on where I need to improve or if I'm doing this right or not. Trust me, say whatever you feel. It's not going to offend me. If it does, then I'll just block you so I don't have to see you again. I was out there today in the world. And it's a nice day. It's a beautiful day out here. And went for a little ride, see if a couple of stores were open. Most of them had stupid lines outside. And neither the wife nor I were willing to go on the stupid lines. I did have to get some bread because I was out of bread and I need to have bread with some of my meals. Just me. Not eating a whole lot of it lately, but I do have to have some with certain things. Can't make a sandwich without bread. That's just the way it is. They're opening up New York City tomorrow, with this whole COVID thing going on. They want to start getting people back out there, acclimated to the businesses opening up and all that stuff. That's a good thing, I guess, but I'm not going to be the one running around out there like this thing never existed. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, from what I saw today, there were more cars and more people out there than I've seen in a couple of months. And I think it's going to be pretty crazy out there going forward in the next week or two. I caution people to continue to be careful out there with the distance when you can, when and where you can, and your mask when and where you can, and washing your hands when and where you can. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. The stuff that's going on with George Floyd, and not just George Floyd, but a lot of bad things happening with policing in this country. And it didn't just start happening. A lot of people are just starting to become aware, and hopefully a lot of them will become less argumentative as they have been in the past, as though this didn't exist, because people are forced to really see what's going on lately because they're home and they're running out of things to do, and the TV's always on with a lot of stuff going on. People are starting to see the history of how certain people have been mistreated in this country, and to no fault of their own. I think that this may be some kind of a grand scheme, whether you believe in a higher power or not. But this COVID has forced people to be in the house, forced them to have conversations with each other that they wouldn't have had, and forced to see what's going on in the world. And it's making more people get involved. That's a great thing, because a lot of people, I'm not going to say they were just not wanting to be involved. They were just ignorant to the actual fact. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying ignorant in the sense they just didn't know. And now they're waking up to what's actually happening. And there are a lot of people in this country that just don't have it in their hearts to treat everyone fairly. They feel as though they're better than, they can treat people any way they want. Case in point, the woman last week who threatened to call the police on a guy who was in in Central Park bird watching, and she didn't like the fact that he was telling her to put her dog on a leash. So she threatened to call the cops, and matter of fact, she did make a phone call and say that there was a black man threatening her, and she felt threatened and afraid because he was a black man. Fortunately, somebody, he filmed the whole incident. Unfortunately, and thank God for cameras, cell phone cameras. That you can pretty much document everything that's happening around you. Because prior to that, it was someone's word against yours, and a lot of times in the past, when you were people that looked like me, or maybe not like me, but people who were who were black or brown people, and someone who was white would say something against you, and the authorities came, they didn't question whether the white person was telling the truth or not. They just took it for granted or assumed that, yeah, you must have done something because of the color of my skin. You don't work. You're not someone essential or important or whatever. You're not somebody's father. If you are, you don't take care of your kids. It's a mindset of a lot of people. Again, if you disagree with me, maybe you're on the wrong site. Take that somewhere else. I don't want to discuss that with you or whatever, because that's what's happening in the world. But again, like I said in the past, though, there are a lot of people talking about this. I urge everyone, black and white, listen to what's going on. If you're not familiar, learn a little bit about the history of this country and the people who live on both sides. And let's try to find a way that we can mend this and all live together. It's been too long that we've been fighting for a change in this world, and things aren't changing enough. One or two things may be changing now and then, but they're not changing fast enough, and people just don't see it. Anyway, where I left off last time, I was still in Tompkins Projects, about to move. I was around 11 or 12. It was the summer of 72, and I moved into, wrong way. Am I pointing at the right screen? This place, which is Flatbush. And I got out of the projects, moved in with my father. Parkside Avenue is what this is. This is a newer version, as you can tell by some of the cars. But back in 72, it was just as crowded with cars, I guess. You couldn't park anywhere. In New York, they have what they call alternate side of the street parking, where you got to move your car from one side of the street to the other so that they can clean it every day or every other day. It's a hassle. You got to get up early in the morning if you're not working and move it. If you're working, you probably left the house before you had to move it. Or you were smart enough to use public transportation where, if you work within the city, there's a train station right up the block. There's a bus station right around the corner. Get you from one end of Brooklyn to the other. If you go back the other way, there are more trains and buses. That's the good thing about Brooklyn. You can get on a bus and a train and get anywhere in New York. Because even if you wanted to get out of the state or go upstate or whatever, you can get into the city and catch a PATH train or a Metro North or a Greyhound and get anywhere in the country. A train or a bus. But anyway, this is where I moved to. And as a matter of fact, before I even moved out here, I came to Flatbush a couple of times with my sister and her friends. We went to Empire Rollerdrome. And a lot of people were skating back then. This is the early 70s. And I went in there a few times, like I said, with my sister, and I skated in there. Okay, let me back that up. I didn't skate in there. I fell down in there a few times. I was never a good skater. But we hung out in there, every now and then. And as a matter of fact, they jammed music in there that we didn't have a lot of places back then, where you were my age, that you can go and hear them jam outside of the parks where people would rap on the mic. You had MCs back then, and you had the DJ. And, the DJ's job was what it is today, play music, mix different songs, whatever. And now and then you have a guy that would get on the mic and say something like a hip hop, the hip hop, from a line to a lemon to a line. He said a few little rhymes or whatever. But that's how hip hop started. And that started when I was like 10 years old. And that had to be like 70 going to 71. For anybody that disputes that rap wasn't out yet, it wasn't commercial yet. It didn't go commercial till like maybe another 10 years from that. And it was going on. And one of the first songs I remember hearing in this Rollerdrome was Rockin' Robin by the Jackson 5. He rocked in the treetops all night long, blah, 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 for those of you who remember it. And that stuck in my head. But they played a lot of good songs and people would dance and skate around. And, it was a social place, we'd meet and have fun. It was also a place where some fights would break out now and then. This is an era when we still had gangs in New York. But the gangs in New York, I talked about this before, they weren't like they are today. They weren't about the drug gangs and the money gangs. They were corner gangs or whatever, your colors or whatever. But that's a whole nother situation. But Flatbush was really nice. And I guess I moved into Flatbush, where this was on Empire Boulevard. And I moved on the Park side. And right up the street from where this was, there was Prospect Park. If you go further down the street up there, there's Prospect Park. I think it's like about 4 miles circumference or whatever on the inside, larger on the outside. And it was like getting in the country. You could hang out in there all day, just living there. I had a dog a couple of years later. I walked my dog and we'd hang out there. More people knew my dog than knew me back then. People would see me go by there. Oh, yeah, this Bullet. I was like, how do they know the dog don't know me? And he knew them. He knew people. They knew him. He was popular. But yeah, that was one of the great things about it. Living out there. Another good thing about living out here in Flatbush was that between Empire Boulevard and I guess like Newkirk, there were a bunch of movie theaters. One of them was the Astor. Oh man, Astor Theater. You can go in there, and this is around the time when Bruce Lee came out. Also, karate, Bruce Lee, and the karate movies. Well, not karate. I'm gonna say kung fu movies came out around that era. And you can go in there and see 2 or 3 movies and hang out, all day. And on that church steeple in the background, if you look to your left in the back, that's Church Avenue. And to the left, if you go down that block, there was the Kenmore right around the corner. If you go further down, away from Church Avenue, you had the Albemarle Theater, you had the King's Theater, you had the Beverly Theater. There was theaters all up and down Flatbush, but and all of those theaters I just mentioned were like within a 4-block radius. So there was always something to do. Now mind you, this is the period before we had VCRs and VHSs, where people would, you didn't have all that stuff on TV all the time. TV channels consisted of 7 or 8 network channels. A movie came out, you didn't get to see it for 2-3 years later, so they stayed in the theater. So if you wanted to see a movie again, like when Star Wars came out, 2 years later, you had to go back to the theater to see it. It wasn't on TV yet. And like I said, there was no tape to pick up to watch it or whatever, which was an amazing thing in itself when that finally came out. Yeah, that was the big deal. Pool halls, we hung out in pool halls or movie theaters, bowling alleys. Like I said before about when I lived in the projects, people lived outside. Because there wasn't a whole lot to do inside. TV was boring. Unless you came home and watched the news with it. I didn't watch the news when I was a kid. That wasn't on my agenda. But we lived outside. So we were either in Prospect Park, in a movie theater, riding our bikes or whatever. I used to ride my bike a lot. I loved bike riding. That was my thing. Bike riding up and down Flatbush, up and down Linden Boulevard, from one end to the other. I would go to Queens and then back to, and I'm talking about 13, 14 years old. We would go on Coney Island Avenue and ride all the way down to a hobby shop that was down there. And, just look at the stuff that was in the hobby shop. Or sometimes pick up things. You can get gas-powered cars. I had a couple of those, whatever. I'm talking the ones you put actual fuel in them. You rev up the wheel, up or whatever, get it started, go in a circle. Or you can get, the airplanes that you could fly that did the same thing, basically. Yeah, that's what we did. Lived out in the world, had theaters everywhere. These are some of the things we did. Today reminded me of when I was younger, though, and when it was warm like this, we would open up the Johnny Pump, is what we used to call it back then. It is the fire hydrant. But we called it the Johnny Pump. I don't know where that name came from. One day I'll ask somebody older than me, I guess. We'll look it up. The Johnny Pump was opened up by some guy had a wrench. I don't know who had this wrench. Maybe his father was a janitor or something, or worked for the fire department. But somebody would always open up the cap, on the Johnny pump. Then some guys would take cans and scrape them on the ground until the top popped off of it. And then they would use that to put over the 5,000 pounds of pressure. I'm just saying that's how much it was. I don't know how much, but it was a lot of pressure over the water coming out of the Johnny pump. And they would aim it at the kids that played in it, whether they were right there across the street. And this was before the fire department in the city was wise enough to put sprinkler caps on the fire hydrants. So we would get out there and get blasted with this water, and everybody would get wet, and they would soak everybody up, and cars would drive by and ask you to wet their car so they can get it clean, with like free car wash or whatever. And some people would even drive by and say, "You better not wet my car," blah blah blah. You kids better not wet my car, with their windows down. With these people, they would drive by with their windows down, and whoever was controlling the Johnny pump, usually older teenagers, like I said, I was young then, they'd spray the water right into the car and soak the guy in his car up, and he would park it and get out angrily like he was going to kick everybody's butt or whatever. But I'm not talking about on Parkside. This is when I still lived on Myrtle Avenue in the projects. We would run into the projects, and you're not catching anybody once we get into the projects or whatever. We get on our bikes, or we just run, and you weren't coming in there. You weren't going to leave your car right there either. So, those are the things we did. Now, we did have sprinklers in the projects where I lived at. We had sprinkler systems, but the Johnny pump was a lot more fun, just getting out there, and that's what everybody pretty much did. It was one of the things we did in the summer, because it was hot. If it was 90 degrees, everybody didn't have an AC in their window back then. Most people had some kind of a fan. Maybe you had one window fan in the apartment, a couple other portable ones. And I think about that today. I'm like, I got air conditioning all over the house, or most people have central air or some kind of air in their house, whether it's window air conditioners or in their homes, whether it's a window air conditioner or whether it's a central air system or whatever. It's like we couldn't live without this years ago. No, well, we did. We lived without it. We had the windows open in the summer with the fan on, flies flying through the window or whatever. But it's the way things were. It's funny how you adjust to things, and things change as you get older. Then you get more comfortable with other things, and here we are. Like the people in Wally now. Sitting in a chair. Everything is automated. You call it for your food. TV has everything you need. A cell phone is at your disposal. Which is why you need to be more active. You need to get out there, and I'm talking to myself right now. You need to get out there. You need to walk around more. You need to get more exercise if you intend to be here longer, and watch your grandkids grow up and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but for real though, be more active, be more involved, be involved in life. Get involved. Don't sit there and let life pass you by. Prospect Park, that was amazing. Even had a zoo in it. These are the days where you had elephants in the zoo, and lions and stuff like that. And I wasn't thrilled about that even as a kid, because for those of you that don't know or don't remember or have only seen like the Bronx Zoo or major habitats where they have for animals now, some of them are nice. They're really large. It looks like the animals in their native home or whatever. But back then they were in cages, pretty much, where it looked like a prison cell, 6 feet or something. Where you got a lion in this thing, and he looks sad. The lion always looked sad when I would go there, and I felt bad for him. They would have lions, they would have bigger animals like oxen, they would have bears or whatever, elephants, rhinoceros, in a local zoo. And New York had several of them. And you would go in there, and I just felt bad for them being in there. Eventually, they changed the laws, and now, like I said, they're either on some kind of reserve or habitat, and they usually rescue animals. You can't just bring an animal out of the wild that belongs in the wild and make him into a spectacle for other people to come by and just enjoy their pleasure. He deserves to be free. He really does. But getting back to this street, Parkside Avenue. Shout out to the people that I knew and grew up with when I moved here, because this is where I would grow into my adulthood at. And you people who are watching this, you know who you are. I love you all. Rest in peace to those that aren't here with us anymore. Some really good friends of mine passed away. That's life. We get older. We're here for a season. But to those of you that are still here and still kicking it, I'm glad you're still around. And I appreciate that you were a part of my life. good or bad or whatever. You were a part of my life, and me becoming the person I am. I don't know. Is that a good thing? Did I become a good person? I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Well, my wife would beg the difference. She thinks that I'm hateful most days. I guess I'm just a cranky old Leo now, but I'm not a hateful person. Love my grandchildren. Love my children. I love everybody really. I just get moody sometimes, but yeah, I love everybody. Um, Flatbush, yeah, that was my home pretty much. Stayed there for the next 12 years until got out of school and started to work and make my way through life or whatever. Oh, last time I was here, talked about guilds and what I was as a guild leader. And for those of you that don't know what a guild is, oh, that's the DT banner up there. Dexter and Treachery. That's the symbol that represents the guild that I was in. That banner was made by my very artistic son and colorized by his very artistic daughter, my granddaughter. Thank you guys for that. And what a guild is it's an organization or it's an organization of people that have related interests. Um, and they get together to aid or protect one another in the game. Or so if you're gaming, I'm talking about gaming guilds, video gaming. And so, I formed, I joined the guild and became leader of it. Like, this is like going back 10 years now. And it was left to me because a couple of the leaders moved on and stuff. But because as I grew into it and eventually retired, this was something I did in my leisure. And made some good friends, from around the world. I'm talking about people played that were in China, that were in Canada, people were in Australia. They were people from all over the world played. I knew guys, a guy from Russia or whatever. People from all over played, whether they moved to the United States or whether they were still in their native countries and stuff. And people would join the guild, like I said earlier, to find support in the game that they played. Like, for instance, the last game that we were playing in was Star Wars: The Old Republic. And if you were new to the game and you joined it and you were looking for someone to show you how to start off, or you're new, I don't know how to level up in this game. Well, we can help you with that. We can answer some questions for you. Do you raid, or do you do operations? What is that? What is a raid or an operation? We'll explain that to you. Some guilds, like for those people that played World of Warcraft, and I played that as well. Like I said, I've been around a while. I played most of the games because that's what I did. And if you were in World of Warcraft, no, I'm still not that guy. I'm not Steve Urkel. Get him out of here. If you played World of Warcraft, a lot of times some guilds put too much pressure on their members. It's probably a lot of younger guys too. They want to set it up so that it's a raiding only guild. You have to be at raids a certain time. A raid is like when you get together to kill a level of dungeons and certain bosses. You need different types of people to be there. You need people that are what they call tanks or DPS. Those are people that do damage, or you need people that heal. So when you join the guild, they're looking for people to fill those different spots. And the better you are, the more they look for you to be part of it so they can accomplish it. All right, well, why do they do all that? Because in every game, you're rewarded with either guild coins or whatever the currency is, or armor. Basically, it's the armor people are after, which gives you certain bonuses. You get more life, you get more strength, you have more endurance, you have more protection against the mobs that you're fighting, etc., etc. Some of these guilds are so strict that if you don't show up or you're late for a raid or an operation, they'll kick you out of the guild. Been there, done that. Could write the book on it or whatever. Today, in the last 8 years, where I ran Star Wars, Dexter and Treachery in Star Wars rather, was what they call a casual and social guild. Like I said, if you were new to the game, we invited you in, we'd help you out. You grow in there, you learn all of those things that you want to learn. You decide if you wanted to be a person that went around doing raids or work with the group when we did our raids. If you didn't and you just wanted to craft armor or whatever it was, that was fine. But that's what guilds do. You know, and people were happy with that. Had a lot of people in there. Had to have over maybe 50 actual people playing at a time. Like a lot of guilds will tell you they got 200 members, but that's how many people have joined the guild and are still in their list. And a lot of those people don't even play. And usually what I find is that if you have that many people that are actually in your guild, they're not getting any satisfaction in your guild, because as a guild leader and with only several officers who usually become your main friends or whatever, you don't have time to cater to 100, 200 people. It's not going to happen. So usually I call my list after a while. So, you know, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that's what a guild is. And we do that today. We still do that in Star Wars, because we're back. We left, we came back. You know, and if we grow, I'll continue to be there. But if the numbers continue to go down, because The Mandalorian, I know I'm all over the place, but the TV show on Disney, The Mandalorian, and yes, I'm a geek. That's why I'm talking about all this stuff. I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm a geek. And The Mandalorian TV show brought in a lot of people that wanted to play Star Wars, because not everybody wanted to be a Mandalorian. Cool. So we got some of those people in there. But anyway, that's what a guild is. That's what a guild does, you know. I'm not going to stay here much longer. That way, welcome. You know, I'm glad you people stopped by. And like I said, at the end of all of this, you can do me a favor and you can hit the like and subscribe buttons, which you'll see appear on the top and the side of me. And you can go back and check out some of my previous stuff if you like it. And again, leave a comment, you know, if you enjoyed this. And even if you just passed something through for the first time. If you didn't like it and you leave in a few minutes, leave me a comment. You know, why you didn't like it. This will help me to grow my brand and improve where I need to. If you think I should get off the air or whatever, say that too. If you think I was great, please say that. And recommend it to a friend of yours. So, yeah, hit the like and subscribe so you can get more. You know, and again, I appreciate you people for tuning in. Oh, and in the words of the famous Frankie Crocker, may each of you live as long as you want and never want as long as you live. May each of you live to be 100 years old, but me 100 but minus a day, so that I never have to know that nice people like you passed away. Peace and blessings, everyone. Enjoy your summer and be safe.